The shadow of Field Marshal Shunroku Hata's wartime legacy would forever be tied to the machinery of systematic brutality unleashed against civilian populations. Over nearly 40 years in uniform, Hata had risen to become one of Japan's most seasoned battlefield commanders. His long service through Japan's expansion across Asia earned him prestige, influence, and ultimately one of the highest ranks in the Imperial Army. By the time he was assigned command over Japanese forces in central China in 1941, Hata wielded authority over immense territories and hundreds of thousands of soldiers. With that authority came direct responsibility for enforcing Japan's occupation policies across some of the most densely populated regions in China. Under Hata's leadership, Japanese military forces carried out widespread operations designed to crush civilian support for Chinese resistance movements. These so-called pacification campaigns were anything but peaceful. Entire villages disappeared in flames. Communities suspected of harboring partisans were wiped out. The notorious three alls doctrine, kill all, burn all, destroy all, was enacted repeatedly within areas under Hata's control. The intent was to cut resistance forces off from food, shelter, intelligence, and human support by obliterating the civilians who sustained them. The human toll was staggering. During the Tokyo War Crimes Tribunal, prosecutors laid out extensive evidence that Hata did not simply allow these operations to take place, he directed and monitored them closely. Field reports he sent to Tokyo quantified progress not in military victories, but in the number of destroyed villages and eliminated populations. Survivors who testified described an organized system of terror. Japanese troops would arrive with lists of suspected sympathizers and extinguish entire families associated with resistance members. This pattern of targeting whole communities convinced prosecutors that Hata's operations constituted genocide, an intentional effort to eradicate segments of the Chinese population through orchestrated violence. Medical and forensic specialists testified that the brutality exhibited in the affected regions was too systematic to be spontaneous. The patterns pointed to coordination and explicit authorization from the highest command levels. Hata's defense attempted to justify the measures as militarily necessary responses to guerrilla warfare, claiming he was simply applying accepted doctrine to contain irregular forces. But the tribunal had to determine whether the scale of devastation exceeded anything that could reasonably be justified by military necessity. The evidence showed a strategy built on terror rather than legitimate counterinsurgency. Throughout the trial, Hata maintained the calm discipline of a career military officer. He acknowledged responsibility for operations under his command, but insisted that civilian casualties were unavoidable in campaigns against irregular fighters. His notebook entries and letters written during imprisonment revealed a man genuinely perplexed by the tribunal's accusations. He saw warfare strictly through the lens of operational effectiveness, unable or unwilling to grasp the humanitarian consequences of the policies he enforced. On November 12, 1948, the tribunal found Hata guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity. The judges determined that the deliberate, organized nature of the atrocities carried out under his command left no room for ambiguity. His death sentence marked a symbolic reckoning for the countless Chinese civilians who had perished in the flames of his pacification campaigns, and it reinforced a precedent in international law. Commanders would henceforth be held accountable for systematic violence inflicted under their authority. Among the condemned awaiting execution at Sugamo prison, one figure stood apart from the generals, Koki Hirota, the sole civilian sentenced to death. A former prime minister and foreign minister, Hirota embodied the political leadership that had steered Japan toward militarism, expansionism, and alliance with Nazi Germany. His path to the gallows was fundamentally different from that of the military officers. While they had directed soldiers on the battlefield, Hirota's crimes were rooted in diplomacy, policy, and statecraft. As foreign minister from 1933 to 1936 and prime minister from 1936 to 1937, Hirota shaped Japan's aggressive foreign strategy. He oversaw the negotiation of the Anti-Comintern Pact with Germany, planting the seeds of the Axis alliance. His diplomatic maneuvering alienated Japan from Western powers while deepening ties with fascist regimes. Prosecutors argued that Hirota's policies made a major war not only likely, but inevitable. Evidence showed that his diplomacy with Germany and Italy was explicitly designed to prepare for conflict with the United States and Great Britain. As Prime Minister, Hirota's cabinet approved expanded military operations in China, authorizing troop deployments and policies that escalated the conflict into full-scale war. While he never personally commanded troops, the tribunal viewed him as a key architect of Japan's march toward catastrophe. His decisions created the geopolitical framework in which military aggression flourished, making him accountable for the devastating actions carried out by the generals who followed. Witnesses testified about his participation in high-level discussions regarding military expansion and his belief that war to China served Japan's destiny. His defense portrayed him as a diplomat safeguarding national security, but the tribunal focused on his active role in designing and enabling aggressive war. In 1948, Hirota was convicted of conspiracy to wage aggressive war and crimes against peace, becoming a symbol of political culpability in the machinery of wartime tyranny. Before the executions were carried out, each condemned prisoner was granted a final opportunity to speak. One by one, as the hour approached, they offered short statements, some proud, some resigned, some shrouded in the familiar language of wartime duty. When the time came for Koki Hirota, he stepped forward with the composure of a seasoned diplomat and offered only one final message, a quiet prayer for Japan's future and unwavering hope that the nation would find its way back to peace. Then he bowed deeply to the guards and walked to the gallows. On December 23, 1948, the sentences of the 7 condemned were carried out in the hushed, controlled environment of Sugamo Prison. The executions were coordinated with military precision. Shortly after 2 o'clock in the morning, a small procession of guards escorted the prisoners from their cells to the execution chamber. Witnesses later described the atmosphere as somber. No shouting, no panic, just the heavy stillness of inevitability. The condemned men walked one after another beneath the cold electric lights of the corridor. Each man was hooded, bound, and positioned atop the trapdoor. A priest offered final rites to those who requested them. When all formalities had concluded, the lever was pulled, and the bodies fell through the floor, ending the lives of 7 of Imperial Japan's most powerful wartime leaders. In the still minutes that followed, doctors confirmed the deaths, marking the final chapter in the Tokyo Tribunal's long pursuit of accountability.